Okay. If today we finish cartographic materials and serial publications, it would mean we'll be remaining with mixed responsibility. It is 4 hours. Modification of texts 4 hours. Test 2. It was supposed to be in groups, but that won't be possible. Depending on how text 1 goes, it will determine whether we have test 2. Then headings for corporate bodies, and then the last one, which we have already covered, will be core practice. So whoever wanted me to go back to online cataloging, it will be within this time that we shall have some more practice. So you can see there are still issues to finish. 1, 2, 3. And by the way, those 3, since we are doing it online, we can even do it in 2 hours. So that is what will determine our going back to online cataloging. Let me answer to what is appearing in the chat. Brian, I'll answer to your emails. And then Jacqueline, I've already answered. I'll go back to online cataloging. And then Julius, you are confirming we had a test in groups. Did you get back the results? Because I don't recall that. For the evening class, you claim you had the tests in groups, but I don't have any record. So Julius confirmed, did I mark and return the scripts? Which test we had the testing groups, we have them. You mean you also have the marks? Julius confirm. Okay, I need to check my records to see where that one is. Then day class, Ruth has confirmed I returned the evening scripts. So I just need to check in my records. And then the day class, did we have any test or group work? Mugwanya, can you confirm? Abiba, are you day or evening? Immaculate, are you day or evening? Day. Oh, why is it the overlooked that? Then if we had any test for both day and evening, then we shall have one online test, which is scheduled for tomorrow. And that will make our work more easier. So I'll confirm when I check my registers that I have a record. I did not check, and my assumption was we had not done any, but where did I record them? It is surprising the current register used does not have that record, but that is for me to check. So that is what we'll have to cover. Thanks for confirming that we did the group work. So I now want to first of all share my screen and then pick something from Mwere. And please, you have seen the challenges we find in Mwere. It is not as reliable as it used to be before the lockdown. Now everybody is using that learning management system. So I want to download the cartographic material presentation. I'm picking it from Mwere, such that when you need it, you know where to go to pick it. So this is where it is in that week of October 28th to 3rd November. You can click in the icon or in the words. I've clicked in the words and it has downloaded here. So now I click for me to open it. Of course, if you are using a phone and you do not have the PowerPoint or Office, you might not be able to access it on phone. So you need to download those applications. I'm assuming everybody can see my screen. If you are not seeing the screen, then please let me know. I want to go through area 3 quickly. And anybody who is not seeing my screen, please you let me know. So area 3 is referred to as material or type of publication, specific details area, and is used for cartographic materials, music and serials, and it is also used in describing microforms of cartographic materials, music and serials. This is the area I said earlier. It is referred to as mathematical data area. And in Mark 21, it is field 255. So please, when you go to CORE, that is field 255. What do we record first in this area? It is statement of scale. And that is subfield A, still in field 255. The first part of this area, Kenneth has raised his hand. I want to see what Kenneth, we are still seeing your screen. Okay, sorry. I'll need to stop this and then go back to share the screen. I'll share my screen and then pick the PowerPoint. So is it okay now? Can everybody see my screen for cartographic materials? Please confirm. Okay, everybody now sees my screen, so we proceed. I'll start again. I said that is area 3, material or type of publication, specific details area, and we shall use that area for cartographic materials, music and serials. It is used in describing microforms of these cartographic materials, music and serials. And I just mentioned that if we are dealing with cartographic materials, then this area 3 for those materials is referred to as mathematical data area in field 255. Statement of scale is what we record first. The first part of this area is statement of scale. Scale is given as a representative fraction expressed as 1 to a given fraction, and it is preceded by the word scale. Ignore the greater than sign, and that was supposed to be a full stop. If any statement of scale is found outside the item, it is given as a representative fraction in square brackets. In case you have a map, but the map does not have a scale, but you pick that scale from outside the map, then you will enclose it in square brackets. If no scale is found, you can compute the scale and give it preceded by CA. So in case you cannot even get the scale anywhere else, we have means of computing the scale, and what we come up with at the beginning, we shall put CA with a dot and then give the scale. But if it cannot be computed, then the statement scale not given is used in that mathematical data area. I'll give some examples. We have seen this example before, but we shall still look at it for emphasis. And the format in which this entry is given is by showing you the area and what goes in that area. Otherwise, it is the same information that you will have to put in an entry form or a card form. So area O, this is a content form. It is an object. Content qualification, it is cartographic. And then the title, scan globe diameter 30 centimeters by replog. And now this is the area we are working on. So this scale was available on the globe. So we shall write the scale starting with the word scale and then the fraction next. So that is how we shall transcribe the scale of a globe. The rest of the areas, you can see Chicago, Illinois, place of publication in square brackets because this information was not on the globe. And then the year of publication, it has a question mark because it was also not available on the globe. In the physical description, we mention using numerals how many globes. Other physical details, COL means it was colored. Material used to make the globe, it is plastic. So these are the other physical details we give. And then the dimension after a space, semicolon space. And then area 7, this is information given in the note. Example 2 is of a map. For maps, the content form term to use in area O, it is image. And then content qualification remains the same, cartographic. The rest of the details, we give them the way we have been handling books, except area 3. Now in this example, it shows that for area 3, the scale was estimated, it was computed. And when we do that, we attach that CA full stop at the front of the scale, but enclose it in square brackets. Still in the physical description, we don't have pages for maps. Using numerals, we mention how many maps. Twinny has raised her hand. I'll have to get there. Twinny, can you type your question in case you have anything to ask? I'm not seeing your question, but I see you raised your hand. Are you not seeing my screen? I'm asking now, if you are not seeing my screen, type 1. If you are not seeing my screen, type 1. If you are seeing my screen, type 2. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'll have to go back. But there are others seeing my screen. So Twinny, And Sarah, I think the problem is your side. So I'll proceed. Others are seeing the screen, so it means those who are not seeing the screen, the problem is with their devices they are using. So I'll proceed. That is how we handle maps. Next, statement of projection. After giving the statement of scale, what we record next after the scale is statement of projection, and that is in subfield B in our Mark 21 field 255. If a statement of projection is found on the item or any of the accompanying materials, it is given following the scale using abbreviations and numerals where appropriate. The example I have for you, this is a map showing statement of projection, and I've tried to write it in entry form by also giving you the main entry ending. Since when you look at the statement of responsibility, the map was mapped, edited, and published by the Geological Survey. So Geological Survey takes the main entry heading. Then area O, image is the content form, and cartographic is the content qualification. Bath Aram Quadrangle, Virginia Bath Company is the title proper, the whole of that. Mapped, edited, and published by the Geological Survey, that is the statement of responsibility. Our scale is 1 to 24,000. You'll notice that this area starts with a space, full stop, space, dash, space. And now this is the projection. Space, semicolon, space, it is polyconic projection. And we saw some of these in image form. So that is the statement of projection of a map. If you have questions, I'll receive those questions in the chat before I look for one map and you see the challenges ahead. So I'm typing any questions. Please type the questions in the chat. If anybody has a question, please type the question as I get some maps for us to look at them physically. Anybody with a question, you type the question, and then I see if I have a map we can look at. Is there anybody with a question? I'm getting the map, and you allow me to share. I'll share my screen. Any question, example of a cartographic catalog? I know, Mgisha, I don't get what you mean by a cartographic catalog. You need to clarify your question. As you clarify your question, I'm sharing my screen. And what am I sharing? I'll first share this page. I hope everybody sees the page where I am. This is a table of contents for an atlas. And why I'm showing you this, I picked a map from this atlas. So the map I'll be showing you next was picked from this atlas. And these details here, which I'm magnifying, are the details we use for the publisher, place of publication, standard book number, and then the year. So the atlas that I'm going to show you next was extracted from, rather the map was extracted from this atlas. So this information will be useful. So that is why I was showing you this particular screen. So I'll stop the share and then see. Someone says an example of a cartographic entry. I've already given you one, but it was not in card form. Maybe now, what I'm going to show you next, you will try to catalog and see if you can handle. So I'm sharing a map. Everybody should see the map I'm sharing, such that you see the challenges. First and foremost, this is the whole map. At the top, we can get the title proper, which is Uganda. You can see the typography, the way it was bolded. That is an indicator that this is the title proper. And then natural vegetation and land use is other title. So that one was a bit straightforward. Then we start looking at the map. Year of publishing of this map, we saw from the table of contents. Since it came from that atlas, that year of publication, it was even copyright, is the year we shall use as the year of publishing of the map. Then I scroll up. What do we find at this point? You allow me to magnify. I'll magnify again. You will notice that the scale is given, directly given. We don't need to compute, and also the projection. And this is transverse Mercator projection. So this we shall record after the scale using a space, semicolon space. And then of course, that is a continuation of the map. There is that image. And then areas of land use and natural vegetation. And you'll notice that there is nothing more we will pick from this map, which is useful in our description. So all I need now to do, I'll zoom out. It means all the other details that we can't pick from this map, we shall pick from the table of contents. But for other maps, maybe more details are given. The dimension, we measure the edges, yeah, of this map. Not the boundary of the map, but the edges of the actual physical map. Now you see that the map has that boundary inside. That is not what we shall measure. We shall measure this edge to get the size of the map. Basically, there is nothing more to show. on this map. I'll stop the share and then see where do you find the statement of responsibility of the map. Um, it will be on the map. Olivia, the statement of responsibility will be on the map. But the example I've used, the statement will come from the extract of the atlas. For this particular map, the statement of responsibility is on the title page of the atlas. So this is the atlas, leave alone the words look the other way around, and you will see that that was the page. One of those pages is what I was showing you. But in case you get other maps, then that information should be determined from the map itself. This is the title page of the atlas. So you can just get any map and see if you'll be able to see those details. Then Lillian, you're asking what's the use of that image on the southeast of that map? Let me go back. What is the use of that image of the southeast? This image, I think this is what she's referring to. Unfortunately, in our entry, we don't have any use for this image. But remember, the other title was telling us what this map is all about. It is about natural vegetation and land use. So maybe when you are providing a subject for your added entries, then this can tell you what this map is all about. Natural vegetation and what the land is used for. So I hope that answers that question. I will stop at that point. For cartographic materials, I intended to use 1 hour, but I see we still have time. Can we proceed for another 30 minutes? If we can proceed, confirm by typing 1. The attendance is good. I see 54. So let us use the next 30 minutes to wind up continuing resources. I know we did it last time, but maybe we need to look at more examples. So I'll start sharing, and then we'll look at continuing resources. I know you are spending on data, but let us complete this today. Continuing resources for serial publication. For serial publications, area 3 is referred to as numbering area. So when we get periodicals or serials, which we also refer to as continuing resources, then what we call the mathematical data area for cartographic materials, for serial publications, we refer to it as numbering area. A serial is defined as a publication issued in successive parts which are intended to be continued indefinitely, like Bride and Groom. That is a magazine, but it is one of the examples of serials, something which is published successively, and it can be continued indefinitely, not like a textbook, which if they don't publish a new edition, then that is the end of it. These publications may be issued in print, non-print, or electronic format, and the common types include abstracts and indexes, yearbooks, annual reviews, directories, newsletters, newspapers, magazines, journals, and trade publications. The numbering area, when we are filling in those details, it is field 362 in core or in machine readable cataloging. The numbering area is divided into two parts, which we saw earlier: numeric or alphabetic designation and chronological designation. We need now to see the first one, the numeric. Alphabetic is not so common, but in case we come across it, then we should be able to handle. So how does the numeric look like? The numeric or alphabetic designation of a serial is given as it appears in the first or last issue or part of the serial using standard abbreviations and numerals. When a serial title changes, but it continues its previous numbering, the numbering of the first issue of the new title is used. So by first issue means the very first publication of a given title. Examples. In the first one, when we reach area 3 of a serial, we see volume 133, comma, number 1 to 2. This is one of the many formats in which that information can be given. The second example doesn't use volume or number, it has issue 1. Then we have part 2. The last one, volume 1, number 12. You can see that the last one differs from the first one because this one combines 2, this one has only 1. So these are examples of the numeric designation without chronological. I move to the next slide. How does chronological designation look like? There are few cases in which there is a numeric or alphabetic designation without also having a chronological designation. In other words, they will normally go hand in hand, numeric and chronological together. But in case they are given alone, then we transcribe them as they are given. A chronological designation that identifies the first or last issue or part of a serial is recorded as it appears using standard abbreviations and numerals. So the examples I have here are those examples where the chronological designation is given alone. The first one, we just have only the year. We start the area with a space, full stop, space, dash, space, give there, and then there's a dash after there. The second one, for it, it has a month. The first one didn't have a month, but the second one has a month. The months must be abbreviated using standard abbreviation. So this is for March 1978, then dash. So those are examples of chronological designation, which are not complicated. I have the entry that I gave earlier. And our interest is in volume 133, number 1 to 2, Feb 2007, and then the dash. You will notice that volume 133, number 1 to 2 is our numeric designation, but it also has chronological designation, which is in the brackets or parentheses. So you can see numeric and chronological. And then after closing that bracket, there is a dash, space, then a dash. Volume 133, number 1 to 2. If it wasn't number 1 in front here, we would leave 3 spaces. if it wasn't volume, rather number 1, would leave 3 spaces there. But that is something maybe I'll need to explain when we meet face to face. Place of publications, there are 2, Amsterdam and London. So we combine them using a space, semicolon space. Elsevier is the publisher. Year of publication is 2007. Then there's a space and a dash, which means that after 2007, we expect this serial publication to be published. In other words, it is a continuing resource. They will still publish more volumes. And this dash after Feb 2007 means that whereas in volume 133, this is number 1 and 2, we expect number 3 and 4. Why? Because it is published semi-monthly. So this is what we call the frequency. And it is the first item we give in the note area. When you catalog serial publications, it is a must to give the frequency. How often is a publication published? However, when we are starting the physical description area, you leave 1, 2, 3 spaces and then give a small v. We do not capture the number of pages. We leave 3 spaces and then a small v, and then continue describing the serial using the other physical details. It has illustrations. The dimension is 24 centimeters after space, colon space, and then the frequency, published semi-monthly. Semi-monthly means 2 times a month. Semi-monthly is also the same as bi-monthly. I would imagine semi-monthly is the same as bi-monthly. We can confirm that. And then note area, bibliographical references. I see communication. Example of a card catalog of a map. Sorry, sir, no space supposed to be between numeric and chronological. There is no space. Abby Robina, you are now confirming that you attended. That is too late for you to confirm your attendance. There is no space here? No, there is. There is a space before this opening bracket. And this one we can confirm from what we saw earlier, punctuation. We shall leave a space before the opening, but we shall not leave a space before the closing. So thanks for that observation. Likewise, there is a space after that comma. Just like you see there is space after this comma, but there is no space before the comma. So thanks for that observation. Mugweri, I know you want to show that you are in class, but I need you to ask on what is going on. You don't register to be in the class and then you just type your attendance and then you go. I will not award marks for being in class. You need to be in class to attend and see if you pick something. Then ISSN 03778401 space colon space, you give the subscription fee and then its qualification. Lastly, in the tracing, you need to determine the subject of the serial, and for this particular one, and the subject is animals dash food from the Sears list. It means now we need to prepare a subject added entry for this serial. One thing that I need people to understand, this serial publication did not have an author. And normally it is institutions which produce these journals. But for this particular one, that information was not readily available. So the main entry was put under title. And when it went under title, our area O came first. So assume this is my second indentation, like that. And this is my first indentation. I know I left big space, but that is for you to see the hanging bit. This is the hanging. So that was the main entry. And the next slide, we see the subject added entry. And that is where I'll stop for this particular example. When the subject is the heading, I do not give it in the tracing as it was in the main entry. So for the subject added entry, in capital letters, it appears starting from second indentation. And that ends the examples I wanted to show you, but we need to practice, and that is how we shall be able to master some of these things. I had other serial publications which we could have looked at, but let us stop this here and wait to see how we move on to the next item, which is the test tomorrow. So any question about the test, please raise it. Could you please give us a sample of a catalog of a map? It means I need to type. And how I'll do it, I'll just show you what I'll do. And I've even started doing it. Example of a map. Let me pick something by first closing this. I will pick something that I'd try to produce. I want to share the screen. The question is, could you please give a sample of a card of a map? This is the map I started working on. And then in Nachimera, you have forgotten my issue of time. I'll be admitted. Oh no. Nachimera is not feeling well. So I'll ask Nachimera what time is appropriate for the test. Please type the time and then we agree with the rest. But for now, the person who wanted to see how a map looks like, I'm saying a map showing statement of projection. But the details I give here are coming from this slide. Let me play the slide. So this map, which I'd given in this format, I went ahead, but I was demonstrating the statement of projection. I went ahead and tried to put it in card form there, starting with the heading, area O. Then I started typing the title, statement of responsibility, the scale, and then I stopped at the statement of projection. So basically that is how it would look like. Leave alone I don't have the edges, and then I will continue the entry. So what you see in this is, or these are details for a map, you just put this in a card form. That is all I can say for now. And then, why did you start with the geographical survey? There is no geographical survey, there is geological survey. Geological survey is the name of a company, and that company is the author. That is why I started with it. And Abiba is suggesting maybe ending time be extended to noon. We cannot have a test starting from 10. Is it 9? And then it ends at noon. That will be 3 hours. No. Nachimera suggests starting time and finishing time. And we see what others say. So, Nachimera, what is the starting time you are proposing? 8 p.m. a.m. Biba says 8 a.m. What do the rest say? Hey, I see the no. And I see no. I think it is good. I know I have a solution, and the solution is wonderful. People say it is not 8, and I want to agree with you. And please, I'm making adjustments now and now. And the adjustment I'm making is that at the moment, I'm typing the test question for you, such that at the end of the lecture, you have the question, but you will attempt the question. Immediately you have attempted the question, you will send your answer to my email. And please wait for the question. When you receive the question, then it means I'll give the deadline for submission. Catalog, that one. I'm not talking because I'm typing. It is a simple question. And it will solve that problem of time. I have finished typing the question, and before I post it, I'm editing to see if there is any problem, and I don't see any problem. Okay, I now send the question. Catalog Mr. John Katumba's presidential poster following the Anglo-American cataloging rules, second edition. Assign subject headings using Sears list of subject headings. Due date and the time is the 14th November 2020, and the time is 12 p.m. Submit answers. I'm eliminating also the challenges with Mwere. Submit answers to my email, which I'm giving. Someone is telling me today is 13th. I have no problem with that. So you wanted to submit today 13th? Robina Ndagire, you want to submit today? For me, I'm saying the question is that catalog Mr. John Katumba's presidential poster following the rules, and the due date is 14th November 2020, and the deadline for submission is 12 p.m. Where will you submit your answers or entries? It will be on my email, Gmail, kidaaga@gmail.com. I hope that solves the time and the network issues. Hey, Abby Robina, you had me wrong? Oh, Abby, I'll reserve my comments. And a good thing. Jordan Emmanuel Mumuza can't see the question in the chat. Can you now see it? And Jordan, I think you have issues with the device you are using. Those who can't see the question in the chat, please listen. Get a pen and then write. This is the question. Catalog Mr. John Katumba's presidential poster following AACR2. Assign subject headings using Sears list of subject headings. I'll repeat one more time. Catalog Mr. John Katumba's presidential poster following AACR2. Assign subject headings using Sears list of subject headings. So that is the question. And then Vincent Ochaya says, network, you are breaking. Vincent, if my audio is not good, just go to the chat, go backwards. My message was at 4:22. It has the question. Anything else other than those people who can't see what is in the chat? By the way, if you can't see what is in the chat, it means you still have issues with your device, how to use it. Otherwise, let me just explain this. On my screen, of course, you can see my small notes, but at the bottom, we have the menus that you can use. I can see the participants, there are 50 in the class. There is an option for question and answer, then polls, then the chat. So you click on that icon for chat, and then when you click on it, that is when you get that window of the charts. Semirembe Koyada. There are questions which I'm not qualified to answer. How can we access? I want your question to be how can I? Because Semirembe, you are alone. You are alone. You rephrase your question. How can you access the Sears list? How are we studying online? Don't you think we can access the Sears list online? How can I access the Sears Nabosa Brenda Mavis? I want to be honest with you. There are certain things you learn along the way. We have been using the Sears, we know how to use it, yes. When the Sears is not there, then now I think we have to use our medulla oblongata. What is Johnny Katumba doing in the presidential race? What is the subject? Seriously, all of you are expected to come up with an appropriate subject even when you do not have a Sears list. Then we would go to the Sears list to confirm. I don't believe any of you will give that the subject of that poster. By the way, I have not looked at any of his posters, but I don't expect anyone to give the subject to be motor vehicle. Because you have heard here, it does not have a motor vehicle. There must be an appropriate subject that you'll come up with. I hope I've answered your questions in a just way about the Sears. Then Jacqueline, so are we sending screenshots? And let me make your answers unique. I know some of you are using phones. Those who are privileged are using laptops. You should thank your gods. And then me, I'm using a desktop. Now, because of those people using phones, this is my suggestion that should apply to everybody. Get a piece of paper, using your ruler, draw that sketch of the entry, and then write your entry in ink or using a pen. When you do that, then you can take a picture of your entry or entries and then send that to me as an attachment using my Gmail. I hope that eases your work. You do not need to use PowerPoint when your phone does not have that facility. So Jacqueline, you answered? Is that okay for everybody? Veronica says yes. So if that works for you, type 3. If the method of submission works, type 3. And if you don't know my Gmail, I'm sending it again. It is my surname at gmail.com. I've just typed the email where you are sending the answers. And then Lydia, Lydia, you continue registering for meetings which ended. You do not need to register for those meetings which ended. In case I left them open for registering, please, you only register for the ones that are ahead. So if that is okay with everybody, Thanks for attending. I'm surprised today we are 50. Please don't attend because of tests. So I expect my mailbox to be full by midday. If there are no more questions, I want to stop the meeting because we said we needed 30 more minutes and now we are in 33 minutes. So to exit, type 9. To go out of the meeting, you type 9. 9 is enough. And those who are not seeing my question, I wonder how you are typing now. Where are you typing? So when you type, you leave. For me, when I type, I'll just type goodbye for today. And I don't expect anybody to say that my email doesn't work, so they fail to send. How are you sending? Your unwritten entries, you write on a piece of paper. After you have written your entries, take a picture, send that picture as an attachment to my Gmail. Why have I opted that way? Where there is a problem, and then of course the network. Leave alone, I started by showing you how we do online tests. So good night for today. Have a nice weekend.